Hi, I'm Stefani Greenfield. Today is a great day. We're gonna be sitting with my dear friend of 15 years, Diane Von Furstenberg. In her studio, she's gonna talk to us today about love, about life, about her career, about the future. There's so much to talk about, so let's get started. We're here in New York City's meatpacking district. 40 years ago, what'd they do here? They only packed and unpacked meat. Down the street, Diane Von Furstenberg. Diane was here 15 years ago in the meatpacking, nobody was. Now you see the sexiest people, the best stores. It's all about the energy of New York.
What do you do with yourself?
The total beat is happening right here. Diane Von Furstenberg was born in Belgium and arrived on the fashion scene in 1972 with her fabulous wrap dress. That was only the beginning of the mark she'd make on fashion, women, and the world. Diane and her iconic dress became known as symbols of feminine power. After a hiatus from fashion in the 80s, she re-emerged in the late 90s, regained control of her brand, and transformed it into one of today's most successful fashion empires. As president of the Council of Fashion Designers of America, DVF is now taking her remarkable leadership to the entire fashion industry. She's an avid philanthropist dedicated to empowering women around the world. With her life and her business busier than ever, Diane Von Furstenberg is in the midst of yet another fashion evolution. Well, hi, my friend. Thank you so much for agreeing to do our show, the Gilt sponsoring.
Oh.
We met each other 15 years ago when you were, reinventing yourself.
I think I have to tell about how we met and what it is.
I never get sick of the story because it's a moment in
but
time.
I should tell everybody so that they can hear. I came to America when I was 22 years old, and I was very, very young. And at the time, I had brought with me in my suitcase a few little dresses, jersey dresses, that I had made in Italy and I was hoping to sell in America. And overnight it became an American dream and big success, and I was on the cover of Newsweek, and I was in my early 20s, and I used to say, oh, by the time I'm 30, I'll be retired.
Yeah, because that's how it's so old back
exactly.
then, right?
And then, at some point I did sell my company, and I did retire, and so on. And about 12 years ago, I decided to come back again and launch the dress again. Why? Because I was seeing that the young hip girls were buying the old dresses in vintage shops.
Stores, right?
And my brand was really dusty and awful, and it had lost all its spirits and its everything. And so I started again. And there was a little store on Broadway, all the way downtown.
Yeah, a little store when people thought Broadway was where you saw a Broadway show back then,
And it was a little store called Scoop. And I had never heard of it because, of course, I wasn't young or hip. And Stefani, who invented the stores, came and she bought some dresses. And she was selling them like hotcakes.
And we had them on a 4-foot bar. Do you remember? And those were like
the
old days.
No. But first of all, so I went to see that shop who was selling these dresses, and everything in that shop was black. She was selling only black clothes and black combat boots and very, very hip thing. And the only thing were these printed dresses which seemed like they had nothing to do.
I will never forget. We had the wrap dress with the collar. And, we always had, the odds. I always say odds are better luck. So we always have our mannequins and odds. And there were 3 mannequins hanging from a chain in the window. And the middle one had the Diane script print in like a beige color. And people were standing outside staring at it like they were staring at an exhibition, like a nude model in the window.
That's right.
And it became a phenomenon.
That's right. So Stefani was super instrumental in my second career because she launched and made the dress hip again.
Now not being a retailer and just being a friend, I have to be honest with you, I just saw your show. I hope you got thank you cards from the true retailers now because it just looks like money in the bank. How'd you feel about it?
I feel great. It's a very interesting moment again in my career as we start a new decade. You know, I am at a point in my life where I have like this big tray and with great ingredients, you know. I have my past, I have the archives, I have this new customer, this older customer, I am global. I have all of these great thing going. And I was looking to find a creative director that can kind of take all these, a chef, that could take all these ingredients and really...
I love that, a chef.
Yeah, and really kind of master them and use them and so on. So it's a new decade, it's a new creative director, and it's yet another decade in my life and in the life of my brand. It is... I was very happy. It's very clean.
What you just said right now, I have a feeling Yvonne has in his head every day.
It's really crazy how we work well together. I mean, the other day, he was working with the print people and he was telling them, I don't know what he was telling them. And then I showed up and I was on my way out and I looked at what they had, and then the words that came out of my mouth were exactly what he said. I referred to a movie, I referred to something, and they all looked and they said, oh my God, it's creepy.
So many people want to know from designers, and specifically someone like you, you know, you deal with a lot of color, you deal with a lot of print. Where does the process start?
The creative process is a very undefinable thing to explain. Two things that inspire me are women and nature, always. I spend a lot of time in nature. I'm a hiker. I always have my camera with me. I always take pictures of barks, of stones, of leaves very close up, because there's nothing more beautiful than nature. The colors in nature are extraordinary. Just imagine a garden in black and white. How depressing it would be.
Miserable.
And the colors and the palette colors, it's just immense.
The woman that shops on Gilt, and there's millions of them, they're not only fascinated with the purchase, they're fascinated with the process. Where does it begin? They see where it ends, and then it ends up, you know, in their shopping bag.
Well, I mean, first of all, my most important thing is the woman. The only thing I want is make the woman be beautiful. In order for a woman to be beautiful, she has to feel beautiful. In order to feel beautiful, she has to have soft fabric. Her body must be arranged. I mean, it's all about feeling comfortable and feeling confident. Then you have the color, then you have the silhouette, then you have the print, and all of it makes the dress. But then fashion is also a huge industry. And it has, with a huge industry, it has the industry of the yarn, and the industry of the fabric, and the industry of the prints, and all of that. So it's a big industry, and then designers are, but where do designers get inspired? They get inspired by the street. It's not the designers necessarily that set the tone. The tone is also, it's a reflection of your time. The designers are inspired by the street, and then they make it all. Why all of a sudden all of the shows say the same thing? Yeah. Why? It's not like somebody called you and said this is what it is.
Hi.
It's just that it is there. Fashion is a very, very, very mysterious thing. It's like l'air du temps. It's you can't really describe it. Even if there were no designers, nobody would design anything anymore. There would still be fashion. Still, all of a sudden, people would either wear long or short. It would just happen.
I really believe, you know, there are certain people in your life that you're meant to meet. I think we were meant to meet. I think that we met at a time in this business where it wasn't about, you know, how much, how big, how many. It was about how does it feel? We loved it, we touched it. We didn't have the internet then that we were using as a tool. We didn't have e-commerce, and we built big businesses. So how do you think from that old school days, you know?
Well, I mean, for me, something that's 12 years old is definitely not old school.
Yeah.
So,
But the old school way of how we did business
No,
and how we shop to how we do it now.
But I think it's, when you are a good merchant, you're a good merchant. It doesn't matter for what or for when or whatever.
But I always related businesses like mine and yours to that show Cheers. It's the bar where everybody comes in and they know your name. It's that personal touch. So now we have the internet. I mean, your show was available to the world, in a moment. How do you think that's changing the way things are done?
Well, I
now?
don't like that. I mean, I don't live stream a show, but I think the internet is great. I mean, I love the internet. I love my iPad. I mean, I just love it.
I love your website. I love the Diane's Diary. I think it's great. And you were quite a pioneer with that. You didn't have the little bloggers. You were taking those Polaroids a long time ago. Do you shop on the internet?
I do. I do shop on the internet. Absolutely. I love Amazon. I think Gilt is very dynamic.
Well, I mean, people sit there and wait for those emails. It's like stop the presses. And think about it. They haven't been on the scene that long. So it just shows the opportunity that's out there for any great new idea.
What is wonderful about the internet is that you go directly to the consumer. And therefore, if you are authentic, it will show. And I think that authenticity, for me, is extremely important. And I've never done anything that was motivated by marketing. I've only done things that were things that I wanted for myself and things that I thought was good work. And then the money is the consequence, and everything else is too.
You say things to people that they put in their pocket, and I think...
Well, I also get things from people. In life it's very important.
But you're willing to admit the good, the rough, and, share the growth.
I think it's important to pay attention. I think it's important to pay attention in life, to pay attention to the detail, to pay attention to what people tell you, to pay attention to people's feeling. It's all about paying attention. I believe in the power of words, and words have a huge power. I don't say anything I don't want to say. And I don't want to say things that, like people say, oh, I die. No, I don't die. I mean, who wants to die? I mean, it's you have to pay attention to what you say, and
Do you think women
be
make
honest.
mistakes often with that, especially with men?
I don't think about mistakes. Every mistake is an experience. I mean, it's not a mistake. It's whatever you felt at the time, and you learned from it.
You have a designer, and all of a sudden they become the next big thing, whether they're designing a dress for someone famous or, a celebrity endorses them, and all of a sudden they're the darling. And they get thrown money at them, and they get thrown opportunities, and a lot of them do get jaded. How do you think it's changed now, for these young designers?
I don't think about things would change. What I think is that, first of all, there's no shortcut ever for anyone.
And do you teach them that lesson?
But life teaches you that lesson. I don't have to teach that lesson. There are no shortcuts. And if you get it really quickly, you pay a little bit later. There are no shortcuts. I mean, I believe that you should do what you want to do. I believe that you should do what you're passionate about. The most important thing is to have clarity. And it's the hardest thing to have. I mean, to have clarity it's so painful, because that means that you can't be delusional. That means that you have to look at the truth. And clarity is not like, okay, I have clarity and that's it. No, you have to have clarity every day. It's like pruning. You have to keep on cleansing it. It's like pipe. You have to cleanse it, and you need clarity. Once you have clarity, then you have strategy. And when you have strategy, then you have success.
You're running the CFDA now. Every single one of the designers, they say there's been a leadership role that you've served, to them, whether it's providing mentors, even if it's not you, getting people out there to help.
I think that the first thing I did when I became a president of the CFDA is that I made it a family.
Right.
I said to everybody, we are a family, we help each other. The young one, help from the older ones. The most successful one is about giving. The less successful is about taking.
You always, wherever you go, you serve that mommy role, whether it's to your family, to your business here, you know, to 350 plus designers at the CFDA. And I know what you've done, you know, for women, friends, women that have worked for you, whether it's love, whether it's business. You know, you are that person that I think gives other women courage. And that's a gift.
I also get courage from other women. I mean, it's not a, you know, it's not a one-way ticket.
Absolutely not.
It's just that I am inspired by women. And
how? What do you think is the most inspiring thing?
I'm inspired by their strength. I'm inspired by women's resiliency. I'm inspired by the fact that they, I mean, so many mothers, and I'm inspired by women in general, all women. I have never met a woman who is not strong. That doesn't exist. All women are strong. But sometimes they are afraid of their own strength. Sometimes it's a father, or a brother, or a husband, or a religion, or a community, or whatever. And they hold that strength to a point that sometimes they don't even know they have it anymore. And yet, something bad happens, the strength comes out. So I believe that every woman is strong. And if I have any role or any mission, is to make women feel that, and therefore allow their own strength to come out.
Women, I think, look for people that do have this iconic, you know, status. And I think millions of women, you know, they're looking for people that they admire, you know, to take something away, whether it is, you know, what they should do with their life, what they should do with their man, what they should do with their job. And I think, you know, it's an amazing journey. When you talk about, you know, your business was in a shambles.
But everyone's life is a journey. Everybody has a different, you know, you get different ingredients and you play with it. I think the most important is to be honest with yourself. The most important relationship in life is the relationship you have with yourself.
Absolutely.
And it is difficult, and it is a lot of work, and you have to be honest with yourself. You have to like yourself, but in order to like yourself, you have to see your faults. You have to accept them. You have to improve what can be improved. But I mean, the relationship you have with yourself is what will give you the strength to make every decision and to go through the life. You have to like yourself. And in order to like yourself, you have to see the truth. And therefore I don't know. I mean, that I was really lucky, and I don't know why. But ever since I was a little girl, I've had this incredible relationship with myself. I love the relationship I have with myself. I never confide. I mean, if I have a real problem, I don't confide to my favorite girlfriend. My favorite girlfriend is me.
There is such a positive, exciting energy here right now. It's the store, I mean, it's the colors, it's the building, it's everything. And it's not that, you know, it's a new space. There really is, you know, like, you just feel it. There's a rush when you walk in here. It's like a day one entrepreneurial rush for this very big company. And I think it's amazing.
Well, thank you.
It's entrepreneurial, and it's a big, big company. And that's hard to do. It feels so new.
It does feel new. It does feel new because maybe it's only 12 years old, because I've had a career before, but this second time around is still very new. And every day is new. And I have more energy than I've ever had. I am very excited, very engaged. I used to say there were 3 phases of life. One is development, one is enjoyment, and the third one is fulfillment. So now I'm at the fulfillment moment of my life. Maybe I'm at the 5th of September of my life. Maybe I am in the very early fall of my life, I hope. Or maybe if it was a day, it's like 5 in the afternoon. Or it's the time that the sun comes down. It's the time that the trees have borne the fruits. It's the time of fulfillment. It's the time that you look back at your life and you look at what you've done, and every little bit of it is who you are. And truly, I've had a very exciting life. But
You think?
But this is maybe at the end the most exciting of it all.
Was it as good for you as it was for me? I mean, my head is filled with words of wisdom. I started saying it's going to be a 10. I'm leaving saying it was a 50. I hope that you share the energy that I did. This was something you can carry with you forever, because I know I will.